What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to say if you're someone you enjoy those legends of the game, I'm talking players from the 60s through the early 2000s, especially those underrated players. Or maybe if you're someone that's younger and you would like to, find some of those underrated legends so you can maybe, look them up on YouTube, watch some highlights and things. This is definitely the channel for you guys. So I would definitely recommend subscribing, and if this is content that you enjoy, I would appreciate if you would posterize that like button. That would help me out a great deal. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into today's video. So the build that we're doing today, guys, he's probably like my third favorite shooting guard of that era, right behind like Mitch Richmond and Dan Marley. I know it's, I didn't say Jordan, right? But, because Jordan should be at the top of everyone's list. And I'm not saying that the greatness, it was because of their greatness. It was just, players that I like to watch. And while I definitely enjoyed watching Jordan, Jordan was never someone that I would consider to be my favorite player, right? I do respect his game, and I think he's the greatest to ever do it. It's just, he was never someone that I followed. I watched all of his games and things, but he was just, he just was never my favorite. I enjoyed watching him, but it's one of those things, right, guys? I mean, we can enjoy watching a player like I enjoy, watching guys like KD and LeBron today, but they're not necessarily my favorite players in the league right now, right? So it's just one of those things. I appreciate the greatness, but you're not my favorite player. But Joe Dumars, I mean, he was right up there. I mean, he was, like I said, in terms of shooting guards, he was probably the third one on the list, or maybe even second. I might have him slightly above Marley. But I like Marley because if you watch the channel, those Phoenix Suns teams of the early 90s with, KJ, Marley, Barkley, Dumas, Sabalas, they were just, even Oliver Miller, right? They were some of my favorite teams to watch. So, but yeah. Joe Dumars, guys, he's an underrated player. And it's because of the team that he played on, right? I mean, when people think about those bad boy Pistons, they think about Isaiah first, then probably Rodman, and then they'll probably think about Lambeer, Mahorn, guys like that, even maybe the microwave or AD, or the original AD, Adrian Dantley. Or someone like that, right? But oftentimes Joe Dumars, he gets overlooked, and I feel like, Joe Dumars, he was a really, really good player. He was a good scorer, an amazing defender, and it's unfortunate that because that the Detroit Pistons are not just necessarily what many consider to be the bad boy Pistons, but I'm talking about the Pistons of the late 80s and the early 90s, which, a majority of that is, the bad boy era. But it's just, there's so many really good Piston players, right? And it may not be someone that you necessarily think of when you think of the bad boy Pistons, but, Joe Dumars was, he was a really, really good player. And guys, I can tell you right now, I've played with this build. It's really, really fun to play with. It is. And I'm going to show you how to make it, right? So, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. And it it really depends on you as as how you like to do your builds. Now you could go this route to where it's mostly shooting with a little bit of defense, or you could do the 50-50, or you could do the one that's I believe well, I thought there was one that was mostly defense and a little bit of shooting, but maybe I'm overlooking. Yeah, here. Or you could do the one that's mostly defense and a little bit of shooting, right? Um, but me, the one that I feel works best, right, is I feel like this one, the 50-50. And that's because you want those Hall of Fame badges, right? Now for your, you know, for your physical profile, you could really go for whichever one. I mean, if you're wanting to go true to form, I would say probably go speed and strength. Um, Simply because if you've heard anyone that talked about playing against Dumars, right? They talked about how strong he was. Um, so you definitely you want that strength to be present in your build. Now, if you wanted to go pure speed, because we know that a shooting that the shooting it basically takes away from your speed, then you can certainly do that. Like I said, when I do these builds, I try to do them as close to possible as the player. And it's just one of those things that you have your options, but it's just, for me, I feel like I think that would be the best way to go about it, right? So what I'm doing here, guys, is for your finishing, I'm maxing out the driving layup and driving dunk, and I'm gonna go ahead and max this out. This is just to get those badges, right? It's not really. I wonder if we can maybe get. I was putting it here, but let's see if we can get some more. We'll get those 2 extra playmaking badges there, right? That would be the better way to do this build, I feel. So we're basically maxing out driving layup and driving dunk now. I would say, I mean, if you wanted to put this here, you could, because I mean, I don't think Dumars was really a dunker. I don't think I've ever seen him dunk, if I'm honest. Thinking about it. So I mean, if you wanted to put that down, you certainly could. And if you wanted to maybe get some more, maybe here to try to get some more playmaking badges, you could certainly do that. I mean, that's. But if you're someone that you like to finish around the basket, then I would definitely say you want that driving dunk up. But like I said, with this build being a Dumars build, and I try to stay, as close to possible, I think this is the way that I'll do it. And I know that, you're really not going to do post fade or post control if you play it like Dumars, but that's there to get those badges, right? And we get a really, really good badge layout with this, guys. Look at this. You got 1 finishing, 20 shooting, 13 playmaking, and 20 defensive and rebounding badges. So a really, really strong badge layout, right? So for the body, guys, you could really go, whatever you prefer. I'm going to stick with built because he was a pretty, actually, you know what? I think I might do define because, it's kind of cartoonish the way that they do these builds, right? But anyway, guys, just to kind of let you know while I'm going through and doing this, what you're going to max out your driving layup, and you're going to put your driving dunk at a 60. And then you're going to max out all of your shooting. You're going to max out pretty much all of your playmaking except for your post control. And then you're going to put your perimeter defense, lateral quickness, steal, and then defensive and offensive rebounding up, just to get those defensive badges. You're going to max those out. And then you're going to put the rest on your post control. And wherever that lands, that's where it'll be. I think it was a 54. Yeah, 54. So we'll go back into this now. For the wingspan, guys, you can max your wingspan out if you want to help your defense a little bit, right? Or you could leave it, where it is. It's really up to you. Me personally, guys, I feel like with this build, you're probably going to be best because when you max it out, you do lose a little bit of that strength. And like I said, Dumars was a stronger player, so I would leave it to the way that it is. And let's look where we're at, okay? So we know that for our physicals, we're getting a +8. Once you get that +4 for reaching 99 overall. And then once you get that gym rat badge by either, winning a championship or getting to level 40 on the first season, I guess is the way it is. Yeah. But which is actually coming to an end very, very soon, guys. So if you're just getting the game and you're doing this build, you're going to have to grind really, really hard to get there, right? And then you could go to the Gatorade facility and just do the workouts and get a +4 that way as well. It's really, whatever way you choose. Me personally, guys, in order for me to get that gym rat badge, and this is just because, I enjoy playing the my career portion of it. I just go through and I just try to win a championship for whatever team I get drafted by, right? But if you look at where you're at, so you're going to get that +8. So if you look at that, guys, you're going to have a 93 speed, which is really, really good, with a 92 acceleration. So you're going to be pretty fast for a 2-guard, right? You're going to have a strength of 71, which is good, and a vertical of 68, which for this build, guys, that's perfectly fine because you're not going to be really finishing around the basket a whole lot with this build anyway. And then if we look at our attributes, we're going to be, our driving layup's going to be 81. Our driving dunk is going to be a 63, which is fine. Like I said, with this build, guys, you're not going to be playing it to finish around the basket, but where this build comes in and it really shines, guys, you're going to have a mid-range shot of 87 and a 3-point shot of 84. So we know on, 2K22, when you have in the mid and upper 80s for your attributes, your shooting attributes, you're going to be able to knock that down, pretty reliably, right? It's going to be a really reliable build on shooting, as long as you're taking good shots. You're going to have a free throw of 92. So if you do play like my career or the rec, you'll be able to knock down your free throws, and you will have that post fade of 84 if you choose to use it. Like I said, I put that there just to get those shooting badges. And your playmaking, you're going to be a really good playmaker as well, because there was a couple of years where Dumars played point guard, right? So you want to have that just in case. And you're going to have a pass accuracy of 82 with a ball control of 81, which is really, really good. Plus, you've got those badges, right? You've got all those badges that you can use on playmaking to help enhance that even more. So, and then if we look at the defense, guys, you're going to have a lateral quickness and perimeter defense of 89 with an amazing 96 steal. So you're going to be able to get steals and pretty much hold your own on the perimeter with these. So for this one, guys, look, you've got a couple of options, right? Like if you wanted to, do pure lockdown, if you needed to be a lockdown for, whoever you're playing with, I would say go with that. But, I feel like, because I really feel like spot up, it's still relevant, on 22, right? It's still a relevant takeover. It's not needed as much as it was in 21. But I still feel like it's a good takeover. So, me personally, I would go with that because you're going to have good enough defense as it is. And look at this, guys. You've got a two-way mid-range facilitator with shades of Ray Allen, Klay Thompson, and Fred Van Fleet. So, those are all really good comparisons, I feel. I think, I really think that, other than his size, he was a really good defender, and he was a good shooter like Klay. And guys, listen, if you're younger, okay, so if you're someone that's younger and you only saw, like, say you only saw Ray Allen in Boston and or Miami, let me tell you, go watch Ray Allen when he was with the Bucks and the Sonics, guys. He was a really, really good player. He was really, really good. So if you never watched Ray Allen, play in his younger days, I would definitely say go watch that. Because Ray Allen, he was one of my favorites because he reminded me a lot of Mitch Richmond, right? Which is someone I mentioned earlier. So, but yeah, guys, I mean, a two-way mid-range facilitator. Now, I will tell you that if you change your physical pie chart, you will likely get different shades of. Because I've noticed that the physical pie charts, they can actually change that this year, and I don't think they did last year. I mean, I wasn't doing builds that often on 2K21, but I don't believe they had that much weight on 21, right? So for your finishing badges, guys, you can go acrobat, you can go giant slayer if you wanted to. Me personally, I just feel like, slithery finisher, because you're a smaller build at 6'3", you want to avoid as much contact as possible, right? And then for the shooting badges, guys, you've got Hall of Fame shooting, so you want catch and shoot, right? You want hot zone hunter. I would go with limitless spot up as well, because I really feel like that's a good one. Now, because of your height, guys, I would say go with mismatch expert as well. If you just wanted to put that on bronze or silver to get it, I would say go for it. But I would definitely say you want that on as well. And if you play this, guys, like if you play this where you're constantly going to be moving around, right? And you want to be able to, I really hope that FedEx truck, I hope you guys don't hear it because it just went by the house and it was a little bit loud. But anyway, if you're someone that you're constantly moving without the ball, I would say go slithery off ball. You could also go set shooter. You could do dead eye and blinders on silver each. It's really how you would like to do it, right? You could do chef, you could do clutch shooter. There's so many ways that you could do this. Me personally, guys, I feel like I would go slithery off ball. And that's simply because, when I'm playing a two guard position, right? I'm constantly moving around on offense. And the thing is, guys, you don't have to do all of these Hall of Fame if you don't want to. I mean, I would definitely do hot zone hunter, limitless 3-point, or limitless spot up and catch and shoot on Hall of Fame. But for instance, if you want to do mismatch expert and slithery off ball on silver, that way you could get blinders and dead eye on silver, go for it. I mean, that would work just as fine. To me, that would work just as well. But you're going to get more badges that way. You're just not going to have Hall of Fame badges. I feel like you definitely want these three on Hall of Fame though, right? So let's go ahead. Now, this right here, guys, these 13 playmaking badges is really, really going to help this build, I feel. So what I would do here, guys, unpluckable for sure. I would do space creator because you are smaller and you want to be able to create as much space as you can. I would do bullet passer. You could do needle threader as well. But I would definitely recommend glue hands, putting glue hands in there. And then for the last one, guys, the one that you would put on bronze, I mean, you could go several different ways. Me personally, I'm just going to put it on needle threader. But if you wanted to put it like on hyperdrive or handles or quick first step or any of that, you could certainly do that. I'm not doing quick first step for one reason. I'm not going to be playing this build as someone that drives to the basket, right? But if you're going to play that, if you're going to play it to where you drive to the basket a lot, then you may want that. I like Space Creator more so for the type of way that, or the way that we're going to be playing this build, because I feel like it's going to help you, in creating that space. And you could even take Bullet Passer off and put Triple Threat on there as well. Or you could do tied handles or quick chain. It's really, guys, I mean, when I do the badges, I do the badges to my style of play, but there's other ways that you could do them. If it suits your style of play better, then I would definitely recommend doing that. So for this, guys, so we know that we've got, we're smaller, so we know we want Intimidator. We also want Interceptor. And we want, let's see, Pickpocket. We want those 3 on Hall of Fame. You could do Chase Down Artist if you wanted to. We will do Ball Stripper. I've not really used this one a whole lot. But I would say, from what it says, when they attack the basket, you have a better chance of, poking the ball loose, basically, and stripping them. So I would say, what I would do, guys, is I would do Clamps, Ball Stripper, Interceptor, Intimidator, and Pickpocket on Hall of Fame. I mean, if you want to play this to grab rebounds and things, you could definitely put that on there. If you play a lot of, if you're playing in my career, one thing I would tell you guys, Tireless Defender and Defensive Leader are 2 that work out really, really well. I mean, they just help you out tremendously, I feel, right? But that's only if you're playing my career. If you're not playing my career, you don't really, I don't see those 2 being very much of a benefit. But there you have it, guys. I mean, I really feel like this is a really solid Joe Dumars build. If you've never seen Joe Dumars play, guys, I would just say, go watch his games. He was a really, really good player. He just played on a really, really good team, and he oftentimes gets overlooked. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. If you enjoy playing 2 guards, I think this is a really fun one to play with, especially because of that. Once you get it maxed out, you've got that speed and you're still got that ability to shoot, right? Which is kind of, it's rare to have both of those together sometimes. But guys, if you're someone you like those legends of the game, and that's something that you're into, or if you just like 2K builds, I would recommend subscribing to the channel. And if you enjoyed today's video, guys, I would greatly appreciate if you'd posterize that like button. That would help me out a great deal. And have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are. Have a good one.